Welcome to the new normal. I have just officially alienated at least half of you with one phrase. Early on through the Thriving in the New Normal series, I received an email from one of the viewers letting me know that new normal was a political term used by one of the political parties and that I should stop using that term in the sense of business training and development. The origination of the term new normal came from a novel, The Moon is a Harsh Mistress, written by Robert A. Heinlein in 1966. We saw the term resurface in 2005 regarding the avian flu, again during the 2008 financial crisis, and then in the 2012 presidential debate. The term new normal is a state in which an economy and/or society settles following a crisis. Through history, there have been many new normals. After World War I, the Great Depression, World War II, the Vietnam War, the oil crisis, the Great Recession, and now the pandemic. Each time we go through one of these crises, new consumer expectations and business go-to-market strategies emerge. Businesses that are early adopters to these trends tend to reap the rewards, and businesses that refuse to change tend to go the way of Blockbuster, Radio Shack, Encyclopedia Britannica, and alike. The Greek philosopher Heraclitus said it best: the only constant in life is change. And that change, or new normal, that we need to be concerned with is digital transformation. What does digital transformation mean to you as an entrepreneur or employee in an HVAC business? I think the greatest threat and opportunity to living in a digital world is our ability to be able to communicate and find information. The question that I ask, is our perspective being challenged, or do we live in an echo chamber? That is the danger with digital transformation that we all find ourselves in. Let me illustrate this with 3 stories. The first is the old Sufi tale of the 6 blind men. As the story goes, 6 blind men were sitting at the city gates begging. A visitor coming to town brings by an elephant, and the blind men have heard of elephants before and wanted to see what the elephant looked like. So the visitor had the elephant stand in front of the blind men, and they began to feel the elephant. The first man grabs the elephant's tail and says to himself, the elephant is a magnificent creature and is like a rope. The second man wraps his arms around the elephant's leg and feels how sturdy it is and thinks to himself, the elephant is like a great tree, strong and powerful. The third man reaches up and feels the elephant's ears. As it flaps back and forth, he thinks to himself, this elephant is elegant, like a fan for cooling you down on a hot summer day. The fourth man puts his arms out and feels the side of the elephant and thinks to himself, this elephant is like a mighty wall, just like the mighty walls of our city. The fifth man reaches out and finds the trunk and thinks to himself, the elephant is like a great serpent, long, thick, and powerful. The sixth man reaches up and grabs the tusk and thinks, this elephant is like a mighty spear, capable of piercing its enemies. After the elephant had left, the 6 men were happy with their experience and began to speak with one another. Each experience was different. Even though they were each accurate in their own experience, the men began to quarrel and eventually became so upset with one another that they began to fight. This story illustrates a very important principle, which is the principle of totality of truth. I do not think that even in a simple society that any one person can ever grasp the totality of truth. But we all have small glimpses of partial truths. Each of us is a consumer, but not everyone buys the way that we would choose to buy. How often do we tailor ad campaigns, sales processes, and solutions to the way that we would want to be sold something? To get a better understanding of how consumers want to buy, we must look at it through many diverse lenses, which is why we have assembled such a diverse group of business coaches for you to have access to. Hopefully, each of these coaches helps to challenge your beliefs in the way that you look at the world, which is not always comfortable. This brings us to our first question. How are people's expectations changing? As customers? As employees? As citizens? What does that mean for your business? Companies have long engaged in head-to-head competition in search of sustained, profitable growth. They have fought for competitive advantage, battled over market share, and struggled for differentiation. Yet in today's overcrowded HVAC industry, competing head-on results in nothing but a bloody red ocean of rivals fighting over a shrinking profit pool. Leading companies will succeed not by battling competitors, but by creating blue oceans of uncontested market space, ripe for growth. Such strategic moves, termed valued innovation, create powerful leaps in value for both the HVAC contractor and his or her buyers, rendering rivals obsolete and unleashing new demand. There are 6 strategies that are outlined in creating a blue ocean business. Look across alternative industries. Look across strategic groups within the industry. Look across buyer groups. Look across complementary products and service offerings. Look across the functional, emotional orientation of an industry, and look across time. Your company competes not only within the HVAC industry, but with other industries as well. One of the biggest limitations we put on our organization is to assume that our product and services compete in a defined and unchanging industry with a very narrow view of the environment. What substitutes have different forms but offer the same core function? In an experiential economy, you are competing for a customer's limited wallet, many times with things like a family vacation, other home renovations, new cars, and the list goes on and on. How can you break from industry norms? 80% of the products sold in North America are entirely entry-level equipment. It would make sense then to not compete in the red ocean of entry-level equipment, but to find your own unique blue ocean. 80% of the marketing dollars spent to acquire new customers in the HVAC space are focused on proactive buyers. Yet only 20% of the purchasers in the HVAC market are proactive buyers. The other 80% are reactive buyers that have no plan for buying a brand new HVAC system. What pain points do consumers have before or after buying a brand new HVAC system? How can you eliminate these pain points before they happen? Many consumers have no idea what it would be like to have a fully functional HVAC system and think that they need to live with uncomfortable temperature swings, uncontrolled humidity, hot and cold spots, and the list goes on and on. How can you eliminate these challenges for the homeowner in the design of their new HVAC system? The HVAC industry tends to be very functional in nature. This means that things tend to be very matter-of-fact and engineered. You need a 2-ton system. You need an 80,000 BTU system to heat your home. I will add 300 CFM to the return. Great salespeople in the HVAC industry know that to succeed and to beat their competition, they must connect on an emotional level as well. When we look across these 6 paths at the commencement of our strategy formulation, we find that this process helps us create new perspectives. Our thinking becomes more creative. It seems simple because it is. However, it is when we actually start the process of looking across these 6 paths, we find assumptions start to break down, and simultaneously, we awaken to new perspectives about the HVAC industry. And it is from this place that innovation and new opportunities are created. There are many resources available to you to help you get out of the HVAC echo chamber. In the Goodman Business Toolbox, log in as a dealer and click Training Resources to view our wide variety of prospective challenging resources. Story number 2 is the elevator challenge. As the story goes, a building manager in downtown New York manages a 15-story building with various tenants. The building had an elevator that was original to the building, which was built in the 1950s. Everyone was very appreciative of the elevator and loved the space. The buildings always had a few vacancies and had a lot of long-term tenants. About 5% of the tenants started to complain in the mid-80s about the speed of the elevator and the long wait times, especially in the morning and at the end of the day. By the end of the 1990s, the complaints had gone up to 50%. And the historic building started to lose occupants. The building manager needed to fix the problem, and so he asked the building maintenance supervisor to investigate ways to increase the efficiency of the elevator system. After a couple of months, the maintenance supervisor came back to the building manager with a price tag. The elevator system had the latest software running the elevator, and the existing elevator could not be sped up anymore. So in order to increase the elevator speed and efficiency, the best course of action would be to install a brand new elevator tower in the center of the building, which would cost several $1,000,000. The building manager knew that the building owner would not approve such a costly improvement and was not sure what to do. Later in the week, the building manager was having dinner with his dear friend, who happened to be a behavioral scientist. The behavioral scientist saw that his friend was distracted during dinner and asked him what was bothering him. The building manager explained his problem, and his friend thought for a couple of minutes and said, "You know, maybe it's not your technology, but the people in your building that need to be fixed." The building manager looked at his friend perplexed. "Tell me what you mean." The building manager said, "It seems to me that the way people perceive time as they wait for the elevator needs to be changed. You could, for example, install a suite of arcade games on each floor, and people could play these games as they wait for the elevator. This will take their mind off of waiting, and in fact, they may even let the elevator go by if they become too engrossed in the game. Or you could install a large mirror on each floor. You see, everyone loves themselves, and when there is a mirror, they will take time to admire themselves in the mirror, forgetting about the time it takes for the elevator to arrive." The building manager had nothing to lose, so he had the maintenance supervisor install mirrors on each floor. Sure enough, over the course of the next several months, the complaints went down to the same levels as they had in the mid-80s. Maintenance managers fix buildings and machines. Behavioral scientists fix people and their perspective. Make sure you enlist the perspectives of as many people from your team as possible. A similar story was the Rockport Shoe Company. The Rockport Shoe Company was on the verge of bankruptcy, so they decided to call an all-hands-on-deck meeting with all of their employees. Each division got up and made presentations on how they could help save the company. Operations got up and showed how they could cut expenses in order to help the company be more profitable with less sales. The sales team got up and presented how they could increase sales through several key accounts and several major retailers that they were in negotiations with. Then marketing made their presentation on how they could increase market share by rebranding and targeting new customer segments. At the end of the presentation, the CEO took the stage and asked, "Does anyone else have anything that they would like to add?" A security guard in the back of the room raised his hand, and the CEO said, "Yes, what would you like to say?" The security guard said, "I would like comfortable shoes." This simple comment from a security guard launched the Rockport Shoe professional line of shoes, which ended up saving the entire company. A security guard came up with the solution that solved the problem. Sometimes we are too close to the situation. and only have at our disposal the way that things have always been done, the way that we've always solved those problems in the past. And, I see this all the time. For a great example would be the labor challenges for this industry. A group of contractors gets together in the echo chamber and they start to complain about labor issues that our industries face. During the conversation, one of the contractors will ask another contractor who is complaining about the same exact situation what they're doing to solve the problem. The other contractor, who's struggling to find good help, just like this one that's asked the question, says, I'm running the same ad that I've always ran. And the other contractor says, hey, would you mind sending me that ad so that I can try running it in my marketplace? Do you see the flaw in this thinking? What if, instead of asking other contractors who are struggling how they are trying to get new employees, and we started asking the employees what they are looking for in a new job? Maybe ask your employees, this may be bold, what would someone need to offer to get them to leave your organization? Where would they go if they were looking for a new job? How about asking a local tech school if you could go in and talk to the students, not to offer them a job, but to ask them what they are looking for in a job? What are they looking for? Where are they looking for these job opportunities? Look at similar industries. How are they recruiting employees? Maybe there's an untapped workforce out there that has the skill sets that you need that's worth recruiting from. This is the whole blue ocean concept. One of the tools that we have invested in for you is the on-demand omni-device training platform. This tool is designed to help you train your brand new employees and help you to attract the next generation of workforce. You can bring people in and have them train anytime, anywhere, on any device. Let's take a quick look at an example of some of this training. Ask your territory manager for a demo and start using this platform today to develop the capabilities of your team. Last story on perspective comes to us from the Russian Empire and a character named Gregory Potemkin. Gregory is rumored to have been one of Catherine the Great's lovers and was rewarded by being given a part of the empire to govern. During his reign, he taxed the peasants heavily and sent much of the wealth of the region back to Catherine. Gregory was rewarded handsomely and Catherine let him know that she would be taking all of her governors and other advisors on a trip through the kingdom in order to see what the state of the empire was. Gregory panicked and began to scheme. He constructed a plan to construct fake facades to put in front of the run-down, dilapidated buildings, and to pay peasants to walk up and down the street, looking busy as Catherine and her entourage passed by on the river. As soon as they were out of sight, the peasants would break down all the facades, reconstruct them in the next village. This way, Gregory was able to pull off the appearance of a successful and vibrant community, which in fact, the community was starving and the buildings were in disrepair. What Potemkin villages are in your business? Is it the team's call conversion rate, closing percentages, dollar average, leads turned over, maintenance agreements, even your profitability? The Goodman Business Toolbox has great workshops designed to help you identify what is really going on in your business. And once you have identified these challenges, how you can solve these with solutions that are relevant to the digital transformation happening in our industry. So how do you thrive in the new normal and prepare for the next normal? Step number 1 is resolve. Crisis response and business continuity planning was the very first step that many of you have already gone through. This involved protecting your workers, telecommuting when possible, implementing health and safety measures, both in the office and in the customers' homes, and other tactics aimed at minimizing damage to the business's operations. Step number 2, resilience. Chances are this health crisis has challenged you, both financially and mentally. So how are you maintaining your resilience during this crisis? Step number 3, restoring normal operations. Though many obstacles stand in your way, from inventory shortages, lockdowns, curfews, financial constraints, and consumer spending behaviors. Step number 4, reimagination. Pivoting to meet the new marketplace will be essential throughout the remainder of the pandemic and afterwards, since so many changes have affected the business landscape on so many levels. Step number 5, ultimately, the pandemic will drive improvements in many areas of the economy and society, resulting in reforms of public health systems, businesses, education, government, and more. How will you reimagine your business for 2021? This is so important. Often small business owners find themselves trapped in this street cart vendor mentality, as illustrated by Michael Gerber. In Houston, we have a lot of food trucks. Imagine what it would take to start a food business. The operator must buy a truck, buy the ingredients, create a menu, and find locations to show up where they know business will be good enough to sustain their expenses and hopefully make a profit. As the food truck business continues to grow, the operator may find themselves in a situation where they no longer are able to serve all the locations that they have established. They then must purchase an additional truck and staff it and hope that the people that they have hired will deliver the same level of service. The only way for the employee to get ahead is to buy a truck of their own and to begin competing directly with their employer for prime locations. The same holds true with many HVAC businesses today. When we look at the HVAC business cycle, you can see how the same thing happens. The owner decides to purchase a truck and begins spreading the word that they are open for business. The customer reaches out. When the customer reaches out to the owner has a vested interest in this relationship and overserves the customer, creating an appointment. When the owner arrives out on the call, they take the appropriate amount of time to identify the problem or problems that the homeowner is experiencing. Once all of the problems are identified, then the owner reviews all of the available problem solutions with the customer and comes up with a package that makes the most sense to that homeowner. After the owner completes the solution, they are then compensated for that service. If everything is done completely, the owner has earned a customer for life, and then the owner continues to develop their identity as a business. This all seems very simple, right? It is until the owner outserves their capacity to be effective. At this point, the owner needs to bring in some help. And at this point, how does an HVAC contractor make sure that the customer is getting the same experience no matter who they interact with at the company? And once they teach the employee everything that they know, what is to stop the employee from going out and starting their own business? As we look at 2021, first and foremost, every one of us must avoid echo chambers and make sure that we are engaging in stimulating situations that challenge the way we think, seeking to understand the totality of truth when it comes to consumer, employees, and the services that you offer. How can you solve challenges using different perspectives and different disciplines outside of your area of comfort or expertise? And finally, what Potemkin villages are lurking in your organization, and how can company and customer surveys help you identify areas for improvement? As you look to move beyond 2020 and take your business to the place that gives you more time, money, and freedom, the Goodman Business Toolbox is focusing on 5 areas of your business that you as an owner and entrepreneur should be concerned with in 2021. Building brand equity, business intelligence, continuous process improvement, developing the capabilities of your people, and building profit and wealth. Let us talk about brand equity. Brand equity describes the level of sway a brand name has in the minds of consumers, and the value of having a brand that is identifiable as well thought of. Organizations establish brand equity by creating positive experiences that entice customers to continue purchasing from them over competitors who offer similar solutions. This is done by generating awareness through campaigns that speak to target consumer values, delivering on promises and qualifications when consumers use the solution, and loyalty and retention efforts. By offering consumers loyalty incentives, such as points that can be exchanged for discounts or a free product on their birthday, they are more likely to continue to purchase from your brand rather than moving on to a competitor. Awareness and experience are the 2 key tenets of brand equity. Awareness. Can consumers easily identify your brand? Messaging and imagery surrounding your brand should be cohesive, so the consumer can always identify it, even for a new product or service. What kind of values do consumers associate with the brand? Perhaps they think of sustainability, quality, or family-friendly qualities. Experience. How have first-hand experiences with your brand gone? This could mean that the product or service performed the way it was supposed to. That encounters with brand representatives and customer service teams have been accommodating and helpful, and that loyalty programs have been worthwhile. During 2021, we will focus on helping HVAC contractors learn how to build their own brand equity with the help of our many business coaches. Business intelligence, or BI, leverages software and services to transform data into actionable insights that inform an organization's strategic and tactical business decisions. BI tools access and analyze data sets and present analytical findings in reports, summaries, dashboards, graphs, charts, and maps to provide users with detailed intelligence about the state of the business. The term business intelligence often also refers to a range of tools that provide quick, easy to digest access to insights about an organization's current state based on available data. Goodman has partnered with many strategic vendors to provide better BI tools for you and are working on tools to help interpret the data that you are receiving. Continuous process improvement, or CPI, is the act of implementing improvements to a product, service, or process. These changes can either be incremental over time or breakthrough all at once. The key here is continuous. CPI is not a one-time initiative. You do not just optimize a certain process once, pat yourself on the back and call it a day. Once you succeed with a process improvement initiative, you need to periodically look back and see whether there are any other changes that you can make. Think adopting new hardware, software, or a brand new methodology. Developing the capabilities of your people is one of the most rewarding parts of entrepreneurship and people management. By helping others become the best they can be, you will help ensure the long-term success of your organization and create a more loyal workforce. We have all heard the saying, people do not care how much you know until they know how much you care. The same is true of your workforce. Daikin practices a methodology of people-centered management, which holds to the tenet that people are the most important asset of any organization. Building profit and wealth. Profit, short-term. Wealth, long-term. Your business is a vehicle for creating profit and wealth. And with that profit and wealth, this vehicle allows you to do the things that you want in life. Having a good understanding of how profit and wealth work in your business will allow you to maximize this great benefit. To learn more about upcoming training opportunities, please go to www.goodmanbusinesstoolbox.com. Click Dealer, and then View Training Schedule and register. We look forward to seeing you in future training programs and love to hear from you on how we can continue to help your business achieve all your goals and aspirations. One last piece that I'd love for you to take a look at is our HVAC Accelerated Success Program. Welcome to the Accelerated HVAC Success Program. We'll introduce you to 6 HVAC companies. The owners are like many of you. They too decided to embark on an adventure by going into business for themselves.
This is going to be a wild ride. We're really excited to be able to take you guys to the next level.
We're ready. Now, we ran through the Great Depression, if you will, which we struggled, we hung on, we scratched, clawed, and fought. We were rebounding from it beautifully as COVID-19 and they shut down all the businesses.
We're going to position you so that you'll be able to not only get over this hurdle, so to speak, of COVID, but so that you can thrive, going into 2021 and beyond.
We're really just kind of beginning, and we've been gaining a lot of momentum here in the past couple of months. We actually have been surpassing our goal marks that we set ourselves for at the beginning of the year, and we want to take it to the next step. And then the other piece that we want to work on is more on the operational side. Some of these headaches are in the form of accounting and inventory management.
Do you know if you're profitable or not right now?
That's hard to gauge at this point in time until we actually get a P&L statement.
Let's get you to a point where you're comfortable that you're increasing your cash spread.
We're excited. It's gonna a lot of things we're gonna learn throughout this process.
If everything aligned perfect and money was no object, what would it look like for BLR?
I need to hire somebody that has service experience and troubleshooting.
The only thing I want to be able to manage what we have. That's my worry. I don't want to grow too fast.
If you can have a process in place and procedures, then it makes it much easier to be scalable. As you say, this is the BLR way.
Somehow, some way, I kept on paying for stuff that I had no idea I was paying for, and because they control the purse strings, okay, coming out of my account.
The first year that I was in business, and I literally had the whole business, every receipt, every expense, every bill. I had it in a metal Star Wars lunchbox in freezer bags. I had absolutely no idea what I was getting into at the time.
What is cash flow? My definition of cash flow is my ability to pay my bills, pay my people. I don't think that's asking for too much. How do I get cash flow into the company?
There's lots of different ways to improve your cash flow. And then we have experts and we have people with a lot of experience in doing this that are going to help you guys.
You know, I've always had the drive and the ambition to run my own organization, run my own crew. Right now, I think what's the biggest hurdle we're having is generating the opportunities, generating the service calls, and then capitalizing on them. We're in too much of a fix-it mode, I guess you'd say.
We're going to be able to help you with that.
It's more than awesome.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
And we're not gonna get to where we're cussing on this thing, but it's a big effing deal. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
absolutely, man. I'm excited. I know my capabilities, and I can do it. I know that for a fact I can, and it's just a matter of knowledge and understanding on how to get from point A to Z.
I can interpret it and share it to my dealers that I partner with. So to be a part of this program is just another huge blessing and opportunity to learn from not just David, but the entire team, who I've listened to for years now, and I've been able to take a little bit from each coach. So now I get to learn even closer firsthand from all of them.
I don't want you to work harder. I want you to work less, but I want you to earn more for the amount of time you do spend.
Today's the start of a huge, huge opportunity and journey.